Hey Internet Land, welcome back to Champion Connections. I'm your host Chris Coleman and this is episode 9. So today's guest is Espree Devora, also known as the girl who gets it done. Why that name? Well, simply because she gets it done. She's the founder of Save Business Time and the author of the Outsourcing Cheat Sheet. Now today's episode is a little strange because when I originally interviewed Miss Devora, my computer didn't record everything. So we actually had to do it 3 more times. So there's a lesson in everything because that's what entrepreneurs, creative people, innovative people do. We learn from our mistakes. So this episode will be broken up into 2 parts and you'll see how it goes. Enjoy.
All right, well, my name is Espree Devora and I founded a company called Save Business Time. People call me the girl who gets it done because I pride myself on being really resourceful. I'm the author of the Outsourcing Cheat Sheet, and I've been an entrepreneur since I was a teenager, so I utilized outsourcing in order to build multiple companies because I had a budget that spoke to that, and there was no other way that I could do it if I didn't know how to outsource.
Fair enough. Okay, so starting young, how young were you?
When I was a late teenager, so around 18, 19. But a lot of people ask me, when did I know I was an entrepreneur or discover I was an entrepreneur or try to be an entrepreneur, all these kind of ways they put it. I very much feel I was born an entrepreneur. I remember when I was 7 years old, I was walking to the movies with my dad and I'd see these empty office buildings and I just pictured what businesses I would put into them.
Oh, wow.
So by the time I became a teenager, and I was like on Prodigy in my dad's office, like playing around in the chat rooms and starting to fall in love with, starting to fall in love with the internets and all that. So by the time I actually started a business, I don't think I knew I was starting a business. I just thought technology and sports and the web and traveling and all this stuff was cool, and I wanted to bring it all together because it was cool. So for a long time, I was just doing stuff that I thought was cool. And then I think I don't even think I knew the term startups. Just one day, someone probably said, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, what's that? That's kind of how I became a video producer in the sense, like I had to do a lot of video for my company. And one day somebody said, you're a producer. And I said, what's that? So I think all the like official terms was me just getting stuff done. And then I didn't know that there was actually a label to them.
Fair enough. So, you started entrepreneur at a young age. Did you go to college to learn how to become better or business school, any of that?
I know and yes, a little bit of both. I knew I had an interest in business, so I was always reading books from the time I was super young. I would just find anything. Maybe my dad had them laying around. And then when I graduated college, I did go to a women's business school. But I don't think I was going to school to learn how to be an entrepreneur. I think I was going to school. I remember, so the business school I went to was people who had already had their businesses and they were trying to restructure their businesses. I was like, that'd be some cool stuff to learn from.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had a real huge business, so I was just like, oh, this could take me to some next level. But no, I'm not really into being formal. I'm into doing everything outside the box and not following any rules ever and never living the same day twice.
Somebody's got to write the path, right?
I guess so.
So you talked about you were a big fan of reading from a young age. Do you have any books that you read that you feel like helped you along your journey or that you would recommend to somebody to read?
Totally. My favorite book of all time, and the one that if I had to attribute any book to being an entrepreneur is The Alchemist. In The Alchemist, it essentially says, it was written by a gentleman, I'm going to butcher the name, I don't even want to say it because I don't want to butcher the pronunciation, but it says, if you believe in something with all your heart and soul, the whole world will conspire to bring it to you, to make it a reality. And I just believe in that. I'm actually, sounds so cheesy, but I'm reading this book right now. It says, I think the title, my friend just sent it to me, and the title is something like, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depended on It.
Oh, I heard of that.
Have you?
Yeah.
I had never heard of it. She sent it to me, and I've been reading it, and pretty much it just tells you to like chant like I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And I sound so egotistical saying it out loud on like a video, but it's in a positive sense because we fill ourselves with so much negativity and so many blocks, and we put these obstacles. We create our own obstacles. And what I really like about this book is that if you're filling yourself with a positive message that like you love yourself, then it like doesn't give room for any of that darkness to exist. And essentially, that's what The Alchemist was all about. Was like if you have enough light and heart and soul behind something, there's no reason it can't be achieved.
For sure. All right, so you're, I would say, a serial entrepreneur. You're also very popular online. It's
kind of like a serial killer.
Yeah, that's like a really bad word, but how would you say that you've been able to manage multiple businesses as well as building up your personal brand online? Because that's how I found you, I think, on Twitter, like a year ago now.
So, let's see. There's two different things between building a personal brand and that's definitely been with intent and building businesses. And I think they're two separate things because a lot of people don't know how to parlay building a personal brand into actually helping a business grow. I think the best simple way to utilize building a personal brand to help your business grow is if you have this is super simple and very elementary, but like if you have a blog and while you're trying to figure it out, if you build up a following about any subject matter, that way when you create a product or a business around that subject matter, like you already have a built-in customer base. Great example of that is 37 Signals. Jason Fried was blogging, what's it called, Signal versus Noise, and then they have this like built-in customer base, and they have all these people to use all the web apps they build.
Yeah.
That's a very like basic way. I didn't really have that method. I don't think I knew what I was doing. So I did it with intent, like this seems really cool. I think it had a lot to do with reading the 4-Hour Workweek, and Tim Ferriss gave some tips on how to become a speaker or something. And my mom's a speaker, but she's a very different type of speaker than I am because she has been a speaker since forever. And my mom's America's memory motivator. She's amazing. she's legit. Not even just because she's my mom. She is the best speaker in the world. Like I can't even like touch her. She's amazing, right?
Okay.
But the speaking industry is a lot different now than it was back then. So I had to figure out how to be a speaker in a digital age, and I think Tim Ferriss helped a lot with that in the personal branding and reading the 4-Hour Workweek. I can't remember exactly what he had said, but I remember sitting on the beach reading the book thinking like, oh, I want to implement this and this and that. And now, that book was published in 2004, and now all these years later, right, I think it was 2004, something like that. And all these years later, like I've now spoken around the country to CBS, to Disney, to like all these like huge venues, and it's been really exciting. So, but getting back to your original question about balancing building a business and personal branding, to me they're two totally separate things. I think for me, personal branding is more like my hippie capitalist side, where like I really genuinely like being someone people can trust and putting myself out there and fighting past my own fears to be really vulnerable so that people have someone that they can lean on and like know that they're not about to be taken advantage of. Yeah. And so my personal brand is more like making a statement for me. Now, I'm not saying that's smart business. That's just for me, right? And building my business is taking that side of my personality, infusing the authenticity into my business, but also understanding that it needs to turn a profit in order to be an intelligent business.
Yeah.
And I don't really like utilize my personal brand to capitalize in that sense. Like when I speak to an audience, sometimes so these days I like moderating more than I like speaking, and the reason is because I don't think there's enough moderators out there that really like put the audience first. And it's not about building their own credibility, and it's not about getting leads for clients. It's about like seriously giving the audience something that they could walk away with, and it could change their lives and their business. And so sometimes I call myself like an audience defender. Like I picture me as an 18-year-old kid sitting in the audience, like freaked out, not knowing which way to turn. And I'm sitting in this, like, I'm picturing myself, and as an 18-year-old, I'm sitting in this conference or this event or listening to this speaker or reading this book, thinking, please just give me one golden nugget to make my life easier and make me achieve all my dreams. And here are these experts that I'm, like, looking to, like, begging, you know?
Yeah.
Putting my whole heart out there, and all these experts care about is making $10 off of me, you know? So I don't want to be that person. I want to be that person that gives that 18-year-old self, like, the information that girl is looking for, you know?
Got it.
And so that's what my personal brand's about. I know that's probably not what everybody wants to hear, because that, you know, everybody's like, yeah, but I need, you know, to pay the rent, but that's why I do it anyway.
I mean, I find that, like, the trend is moving away from these walls being put up, and the more authentic and genuine you are, the more people can relate, which until they can connect. And
that's what they say, but it's scary. I mean, to be authentic, like, to really put ourselves out there, like, is scary. It's just really scary to not be perfect. It's scary, and that's something I fight through. I fight through it on a daily basis, being afraid to put myself out there, because to me it's more important to be myself and to have other people to know I'm being me than to be someone I'm not.
Very true. Hence the shirt.
Yeah.
I am a geek. So as the girl who gets it done, I'm sure you've experienced, failures, trying to outsource things, or trying to build a brand new company.
Right.
Can you speak on any of your failures and how you've learned from them?
Well, I had even posted this on my Facebook wall a couple weeks ago, that I think failures have how do I say it? Failures empowered me to be a more compassionate person, because, like, without the failures, I wouldn't understand people on as deep as a level. I think failing sucks. I failed many a times. In some ways, I fail every day. You know, there's some things I could do better. I mean, there's small failures, right? Like today, I woke up later than I usually like to wake up. To me, that's like a small failure. There's big failures where I've lost a few $100,000. That's a huge failure, you know? Like, and they're not easy, and there's not some miraculous piece of advice. This is what I was hoping for when I was, like, younger. I was like, what's the piece of advice that I could get so I'm never gonna fail, right?
Yeah,
like that magical yellow brick road, and there is none. And really, the best thing that I learned later on, and I wish I learned it so much easier, but I just couldn't understand, is, remember, I started as, like, a teenager, and I'm a female, and I was working in male-dominated industries such as, like, technology and action sports, also called extreme sports. And I thought, what did I know? There's all these seasoned people, that word seasoned, or experienced people around me. They must know more than me, right?
Yeah.
So I never really trusted myself. I always thought the answer was outside myself. But what I realized in end is my intuition is my oracle. The only person who has all the right answers for me is my intuition. Like, it's myself. And it's not in a cocky way. I think it's really important to hear other people out and to learn and to really experience, you know, and be open to what other people are teaching us. But at the end of the day, we need to create our own stories. It's not about, like, you know, some book out there giving us all the right or wrong answers. I mean, I read all the books. I'm still looking, you know, to see if it's there, but it's just not. And the closer we could get in being in touch with our intuition and, like, really listening to that inner voice inside us, the faster that we'll be able to get to all the right answers, I guess.
Makes sense. So, with that being said, how many total businesses have you started? And what is the main business that you're focusing on
right now? Yeah. I don't know the counts anymore, because I have businesses that I count and businesses that I don't count. So, like, some of the businesses that I don't count is I had an electronics business where I would buy, like, a bulk of a lot of electronics and sell them online. I don't count that business.
I
don't count the businesses that absolutely, like, completely and utterly failed and they were moronic. I had a bed sheets business where I would, like, buy bed sheets and sell those online. Yeah, totally don't count that one.
Did you get into women's clothing? I tried that avenue.
I don't think so. I mean, I did apparel, but not an apparel business. I just used apparel as merchandise. to like the brand of whatever I was doing. That must be hard though. Retail's not easy.
It was tough.
I had a scuba diving accessories business, action sports media company, internet marketing agency. I mean, it just goes on. I don't know the count. But it's just like I roll my eyes at myself for some of these things, But I had like a Twitter service business.
You've touched everything, literally.
It's ridiculous. But my main businesses were my scuba diving commerce business, my action sports media company, my internet marketing agency, and now I have SaveBusinessTime.com, which is a curated site of the most incredible web tools for startups to save 40 hours a week.
Oh, wow.
And where that comes from is in building on my businesses, I had to really understand and master outsourcing. And to me, outsourcing isn't really outsourcing, it's delegating. So knowing how to delegate various tasks to either a web tool, a person, and it doesn't have to be in India or the Philippines, although I do have a team in India and the Philippines. I also have teams in the States, in Canada, like it could be anywhere. And it's just about understanding where you can delegate a specific task to get done. And I mean, there's just web tools are just, for me, this like secret sauce of success, and all you have to do is know they exist. My mom always said half the world is searching for the other half of the world, they just don't know how to find them. And
true story.
And that's what I think that I'm doing. I'm connecting people to be able to find one another. So I did with my e-commerce company, my scuba diving, that taught me a lot about how to do commerce online. The company that I consider like my main company in the past, like the company I felt most passionate about, like the big bulk, right? Like how I said it wasn't my electronics business. My action sports media company was my heart and soul, raised money, full team, had all these incredible like teammates. We would go around the country, shoot pro athletes like Ryan Sheckler and Tony Hawk and Shaun White, and it was just like amazing. I'm just so proud of them, and it was like the most amazing experience, and I did that for years and years and years. And so that was like the main company that gave me the most like business experience. And then when I started my internet marketing agency, because I kind of grew with social media, so I was doing my action sports business before the term social media even existed. So by the time this whole social media craze came out, I was like this, expert or like guru, but not because like I felt like I was one. I had to do this stuff in order to build my company. So I naturally just discovered these things, right when they came out, like when MySpace had like under 100,000 users and stuff like that.
So you knew about Twitter before it was spelled with the ER. So I know you got some really good stuff out of that one, but come back tomorrow. It gets even better because we actually use a real life example of how to solve a problem and how you can make that problem into a positive. So for all those that are experiencing troubles, experiencing difficulties, and running into obstacles and challenges that you don't think you can overcome, tomorrow's episode actually will cover that. So part 2 will be released tomorrow. Check it out. If you want to be notified when it comes out, simply hit the subscribe button and make sure you share it with a friend, because we're all champions. We just have to make the connection. Once again, you'll get that tomorrow. See ya.